The episodes you hear in my voice are created, written, edited, and produced by me, Rula. Today, I have a warning. This episode contains explicit language. Welcome to the Life Affairs podcast. This is a place where we share life experiences and the many lessons learned by just living. Join me to immerse ourselves and take a closer look at the stories that shaped and defined us. Just remember, there's no judgment and a lot of understanding on today's episode of the Life Affairs podcast. Mama, can we go for a drive? It is Sunday, February 9, 2020. And in this moment, I don't want to be called Mama. I am just not feeling it. I know other mama would be happy to hear their motherly nickname and honored when their daughter asked this. But I know this question all too well. We go for drives all the time. And recently, they never end well. So yes, this question irritates me. I want to say no. And of course, I say, sure thing, how fun. The minute the words left my lips, I knew I'm in trouble. I should know better. This is a curveball. My daughter and I argued earlier today. It really got heated between us. I honestly cannot believe it. While I am still feeling tense from the argument, for her it seems like it never happened. As any mom knows, my heart is my weak spot. And when I see her adorable smile on her poker face, I give in. In all honesty, I did not give in only for her sake. In the minutes where my brain is regretting my initial response, it also gets a light bulb moment. This might be my chance to escape the monotony of post-dinner cleanup and reconnect with her. You see, I like to believe her request to be in the same car as me is a truce. A way for us to declare ceasefire and maybe have a good conversation. Hoping I can show her the softer side of me after our little argument earlier. This is not the first time my daughters and I have gone for a drive after dinner. It's become a tradition for us to blast loud music and drive around the city in our trusty Peugeot. Although it is a sacred ritual that I cherish deeply. But recently, I dread it silently, just like tonight, because the conversations can get confrontational and I never know which direction the mood will go. However, on this Sunday, and after we finished dinner, we head to the car without saying a word. As usual, my daughter slides into the front seat, hooks up her phone to the radio, and starts playing her playlist. And what do I hear? Night Ride by the Growlers. I'm surprised. Why would she play a song that I like? And I wonder what this drive would bring. I can feel the music washes over me, and even though we're in the same car, it feels like we're miles apart. And I think, does she feel as alone as I do? As I drive through the streets and canals of Amsterdam, I cannot help but think of how growing up in Lebanon and living in Beirut, one of the most chaotic cities in the Middle East, has not prepared me enough to the exciting driving in Amsterdam. My daughters and I can choose to drive anywhere we want, but for years. If I remember correctly, this tradition started somewhere in 2017 or 2018. For years, we only want to drive through the streets of Amsterdam. Because for my daughters and for me, there is nothing more exciting than the city of Amsterdam. It is like a circus out there on the streets. I see bikes zooming by. As I approach the city center, I get stuck in traffic. With trams ringing their bells, I am not in a hurry. I have all the time to observe the scene around me. After all, I feel alone, and the outside, lively movements are my companion. I even ironically smile. The trams dings their bells on those tourists gawking at the buildings and the canals. I see them take selfies on the tram rails, and others dodge the traffic. All I can think of, this is a wild party, and the bikes, cars and trams play the DJs, while the tourists are the audience. I continue observing the bikes. They have their own lanes and they mean business. I gotta watch out for them because they weave in and out of traffic like nobody's business. It's like they're playing out there a real-life classic arcade game from the 80s, Frogger. And this is really where I put my driving skills and nerves to the test. Look, it's not just bikes. There's cars and people to watch out for too. And when I turn onto a narrow, jam-packed street, it's like my car vanishes. And it's just me and my instincts. I dodge left and right. I'm checking my rearview mirror, hoping I haven't left a poor pedestrian spread out on the pavement behind me. In my mind, I am teleported into a ninja warrior from one of Jackie Chan's early Chinese movies. Until I realize my daughter's music playlist was as silent as a mouse. Oopsie. Looks like my out-of-body driving experience also included little mute button mishap. My bad, daughter. By the look on her face, I can see annoyance. And this time, it is her real face, not the poker one. She wasn't as amused by the lively atmosphere outside of the car as I am. So here I am, on the bustling little dam square. I wait at the traffic light. The tune of Say Something is playing, and still at this moment, my daughter and I are silent. I don't know if the silence is growing awkward or is it comforting. Sometimes it feels quite safe when we zip our lips and throw away the key. Tonight in the car, the silence is golden. I distract myself. I look out of the window, and here, at the traffic light, I gaze right into a majestic historical building. I look at the window display, and I see a circular stage covered in golden fabric with fringes. In the center of the stage raises a platform that serves as the focal point of the display. The backdrop is a mural from a red velvet fabric. And in the left corner, there is a wooden door showing the entrance to a Parisian theater, Théâtre Parisien. I can on the wooden door see a brass handle, and both front sides of the door have flowers ornament engraved in the wood. Above the door, I see a brightly lit marquee sign with the words Moulin Rouge. At this moment, my gaze shifted quickly towards the stage. I want to see the dancers. And yes, on the platform, I look straight onto a display mannequin. She dresses in a gold and black corset, where I can clearly see around the waist the letters CD from Christian Dior, paired with a frilly skirt made from layers of red tulle and black leather threads. The vibe of the skirt makes me think of Vivienne Westwood. A fishnet stockings cover her long plastic legs. and her high-heeled boots are as bling and glamorous as the bold shiny bracelet on her wrist. The lady mannequin? I mean, after all the glamour she's in, I take her seriously. She is a lady. She's leaning on a gentleman mannequin, fitted in a deep black tux jacket with a white crisp silk shirt underneath. His tight-fitting tux trousers in deep black features a silk stripe down the outer seam. He wears lace shoes in black shiny leather with a small heel. It's like the shoe of a tango dancer. He also wears a silver and black hat with a satin red bow tie around his neck. I cannot make out the brand of the gentleman outfit. I just sat there thinking of how romantic this window display is, let alone how expensive the products must be. After all, it is one of the most high-end shopping malls in all of the Netherlands, the Bijenkorf, Beehive. And it is a beehive of activities, always abuzz with shoppers and fashionistas. I continue and stare at the window displays. For my feeling, the red traffic light is part of the show because it is not turning green for the entire time. And here I am, I soak in the display. And then I hear, "Yeah, you fucking with some wet-ass pussy. Bring a bucket and mop for this wet-ass pussy. Give me everything you got for this wet-ass pussy." Totally in a startle, I listen to the noise and the explicit song as it plays. I am unaware of the song's existence and I'm shocked by its vulgar lyrics. And the worst of it all, my daughter is singing along. This is when I cannot hold my silence. And I ask, confused, but not too aggressive, "Is this Nicki Minaj?" My daughter shows her annoyance by rolling her eyes as if I am interrupting one of her lifetime performances, and answers me, totally uninterested, "It is Cardi B." And then adds with a rather threatening tone, "Why are you asking?" From the sound of her voice, I know this is not a question. This is more her way of letting me know whether I like it or not, she is playing the song. As the song continues, it is not difficult to figure out the title because I think Cardi B repeated the title so many times I stopped counting. So here I am next to my daughter. I feel embarrassed to listen to such explicit music with her, let alone hear her singing along. This vulgar song makes me realize how we both are trying to figure out why this song is impacting us. We are back into the abyss of silence, and I drift along the waterways. The only sound is the melody of Cardi B tune stuck in my head. Sure, it may seem a bit embarrassing, but who can resist the catchy beats and scandalous lyrics? And even though the tune is blaring in my mind, I'm grateful that my teenage kid can't hear my thoughts. She'd probably be mortified if she knows I am secretly vibing to the same dirty song as her. And now, my daughter lifts the hood of her sweater to cover her head and puts her feet on the dashboard while crossing her arms in a "I'm not your friendly daughter" attitude. Although it annoys me, I resist the urge to react because I know this is not the right time to bring up grievances about her putting her shoes on the dashboard. She and I have other battles to fight. So I decide to let it go and wait for a better opportunity. Despite the difficult drive, I make it through the streets of Amsterdam, of what feels like Disneyland 2.0. While I start my itinerary towards the highway, my daughter switches the music to the original ancient song of Land Down Under. It suddenly dawned on me that this is her way of extending an olive branch by choosing a song from a bygone era, thinking I might appreciate it more than Cardi B. Little she knows, when I was her age, I couldn't stand the song. But now, as I listen to it in the car, I find myself absolutely captivated with everything about it. I cannot help but wonder, were they singing about the Netherlands, the land down under? Before I get too lost in my thoughts, I realize this is the perfect moment to show my daughter how much I care. So, I take a deep breath and ask her, do you feel like having a quiet conversation now? My child doesn't reply. Instead, she jumps right into her 101 tutorial on how to be a better mom for her. She continues to lecture me on why we had a tiff earlier. All she wants is for me to listen to her without interruption or trying to fix her issues. She wants to vent and be heard. I listen attentively. I feel proud of her articulate good point. But then, things take a bizarre turn. She insists that I keep my mouth shut no matter what she says, even if it's about something as silly as unicorns and rainbows or as dangerous as supporting Thierry Baudet, the Donald Trump of the Netherlands. In this moment, after 17 years of being a mom, I finally understand my role. It appears that I've been overcomplicated things all these years. I start questioning the books I read on parenting and the advice I listen to from the experts. It turns out, 16 years ago, I birthed a natural-born killer. Not a killer per se, but an advice killer to everything I know so far on parental guidance. As I listen to her worries, I can see her tension dissolving away. And at the same time, I feel my blood pressure rising up. On her side of the car, the passenger side, the tension clears up, but on my side, I feel like a volcano ready to erupt. After our drive in February 2020, life takes unexpected turns. Routines and expectations are soon to change in ways that are beyond my control. It isn't just a matter of changing my car or my family dynamics. It's the world and I facing a significant disturbance. Lockdown. The word lockdown make me think of various captivating prison series. Lockdown Abroad, Toughest Prisons in America, and the sexy Prison Break. But then, lockdown gets an upgrade. It becomes intelligent lockdown. Suddenly, we're all a bunch of geniuses paving the way for the next Elon Musk. Intelligent lockdown, more like genius hibernation. I'm a freaking Einstein in my own house. And the intelligent lockdown is rough. I assume me and my daughters, we are not this intelligent. Because while cooped up in the house with nothing but loads of disagreements, a lot of hissing and binge watching, Vikings, The Queen's Gambit, and Keeping Up with the Kardashian, we're barely keeping up with our frictions and boredom. I suffocate in here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it. We gotta stay home, stay safe, all that jazz. But then I get this brilliant idea to move the intelligent lockdown from my home into my car. And this when I decide to combat the boredom and the hissing and continue our evening rides across the city. Not only does this help ease the painful loneliness of my teenagers, but it also makes time fly by. After all, if they are hissing at someone, it is always me. To my surprise, my daughters show excitement to the idea and we are soon off. We buckle up and I hear my daughters make a peaceful agreement. I hear my eldest suggest, "Hey, what if I play songs upon request? We start with Mama. What do you want to hear?" Surprised? Without hesitation, I say, "Hey Siri, play Prisoner by Miley Cyrus." And this is how we head towards the city center. Despite the restrictions in place, we're feeling adventurous and eager to see the world out there. Together with my daughters, I drive through Diemen. It situates just beyond the eastern border of Amsterdam. It comes as no surprise to find it deserted. After all, it's just another quiet Sunday. However, as I near the eastern part of Amsterdam, I sense a shift in the atmosphere. Even in the typically vibrant areas, the streets are empty. Nevertheless, I'm not overly concerned, as it is, after all, a Sunday. But as I approach Waterlooplein, the tranquility becomes almost overwhelming. I discuss with the girls the situation, asking them about how they feel concerning the eerie stillness enveloping us. And while my daughters switch on the tune of Clandestina, we drive in a whole different world. This time silent, not because we argue. We are silent because what we are experiencing is frightening and uncertain. I notice the deeper we drive in the quiet city, the tone of our music changes to calm and nostalgic. Because when the turn of choosing a song arrives to my 16-year-old daughter, she selects the song Tourner dans le vide. What an iconic title that matches our situation of feeling lost and empty. I couldn't hold back my tears as the soft voice of Adila and song's lyrics are the perfect cocktail for my emotions. I remember very well, when my children were born, I prayed that they would never have to experience a war or uncertainty. But here we are in this moment of uncertainty. My daughter in the front seat notices my tears and tells her sister to look. "Look, Mama is crying. Should we change the song?" Her words touch me, and I feel joy in my heart. The vibe changes, and happier beats emerge from the car speakers. We are in this together, and now in the car, we begin talking about what is really happening around us. My daughters voice their views on how this is affecting their social development. I couldn't help but validate their fears and give them hope for the future. Now, our conversations are taking turn, and each of us speaks from the heart about what is going on in our minds and in our lives. Yes, there is a lockdown, but we agree, the three of us, we are lucky to be safe together in a house full of love and care. As I cruise through the deserted streets of Amsterdam with the music blaring and my spirits high, I can't help but marvel at the unexpected beauty of my surroundings. I traverse through a city transformed. The traffic lights, the buildings, even the air itself seem somehow different. However, it's not until I arrive at the Dam Square and halt in front of the majestic Bijenkorf that I genuinely feel alive once more. Here, in the city's heart, the window displays transport me to another world, a world where COVID is non-existent, where the streets are bustling and full of life. I have a renewed sense of hope. Maybe, somewhere on the canals, beyond the confines of this lockdown, there is still life out there. And as I step on the gas and continue my journey, we know that anything is possible. I snake through the narrow streets that lined the picturesque canals of Amsterdam. My daughters and I cannot help but feel we have discovered a secret magical world, Disneyland 3.0. No crowds, no tourists, beauty and splendor. I drive slowly. I want to look at the breathtaking views of the historic bridges and narrow paths that curve above the canals. I pass by the homes of the city's elite. I cannot resist the temptation to peek inside their windows. Every time I drive in the busy city, I long to gaze more. And now I finally can. I am a voyeur, looking out from my car window at the extravagant lives that lay within. Through the windows, I catch glimpses of colorful abstract paintings and sometimes landscape art. I am in awe for the beauty and craftsmanship of the hanging lamps in the living rooms and in some dining rooms. In my eyes, they look like true jewels. The interior designs are what I see in those Art of Living magazines. Can you imagine? There are no other cars behind me, and I am alone in the space. I devour, uninterrupted, the beauty of the city and its houses. I feel like I'm truly alone in the car. My daughters, they have their own conversation and do not pay attention to the slow and at times stillness of our car. I feel this overwhelming connection. I think about how driving around the city is something that's been part of my life for a while now. It all started when my youngest daughter asked me to go for a ride because she is feeling down and needs an uplift. But it goes even deeper than this. When my daughter was still in my belly, she was already a part of who I am. We share so many similarities. How music is connecting us, just like it connected me to my mom. When I was still living in Lebanon, I used to drive around Beirut with my mom after lunch on Sundays. I remember one time the song by Alanis Morissette, Your House. The song was playing and my mom loved that song and was completely mesmerized by Alanis' voice. Fast forward a few years, and now my daughter is introducing me to new music like Night Ride by the Growlers. On the Sunday during lockdown, we arrive home. We step out of the car, we realize that it was nice, and we have a group hug and look forward for our next drive. I wish the lockdown lasts forever. Looking back now, after a few years have passed, that our Sunday drive is the symbol of the deep bond I share with my daughters, and how our shared experiences and memories have intertwined during the time of lockdown. Even amidst the challenges of the pandemic, I cherish moments like these and how much I miss the pandemic. Now that life is back to normal, we try as much as we can to go for a drive. But it is not the same anymore. We are not calm. We are struggling again. We are struggling to stay connected. And I don't like the music they are into nowadays. Besides, not much has changed. My daughter still lifts up her hoodie and puts her feet on the dashboard. And this is only one example of the many battles we have to fight. And it makes me wonder, will we ever have a peace treaty? Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends and family and ask them to subscribe. Leaving a rating and review on platforms like Apple Podcast can also help boost the podcast ranking. Your support through word of mouth is greatly appreciated. If you feel I'm encouraging you to tell your story, contact me on Rula at thelifeaffairspodcast.com. You will see my email in the show notes. I'll see you next time.